This is how a 1,000-page report could soon lead to a stock market disruption and the next stage of the Great Reset. No matter your point of view, I urge you to listen to this till the end, because not everything is as it seems. Let's begin. The cat is coming out of the bag. As part of its latest investigation, the GOP-controlled House Judiciary Committee uncovered what seemed like a secret cabal led by the Biden administration. Its influence reaches deep into the Department of Justice, secret agencies, as well as some of the biggest tech companies. Soon after, the committee's chairman, Jim Jordan, subpoenaed the CEOs of Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, Meta, and Microsoft. Is this merely a tactic by the Republicans to dethrone the Democrats, or is there something much deeper in the works? If the suspicions turn out to be true, those biased progressive algorithms are peanuts compared to what's actually happened over the past 2 elections. We may be talking about one of the biggest state-level sabotages in the history of America's democracy. Last November, the House Judiciary Committee dropped a bombshell 1,050-page document featuring shocking whistleblower testimonies about Biden's ties with law enforcement. And these aren't just some random whistleblowers. They're those who are rather high up within the FBI, as you'll soon see. From the report, over the last year, a multitude of whistleblowers have approached Judiciary Committee Republicans with allegations of political bias by the FBI senior leadership and misuses of the agency's federal law enforcement power. These whistleblowers have risked their careers out of fidelity to principle and a commitment to restoring public trust in the FBI. This report begins to tell their stories. Even at this early stage, one startling conclusion is clear. The FBI and its parent agency, the Justice Department, have become political institutions. Whether voluntary or not, big tech appears to be in on it too. According to the whistleblowers, Silicon Valley's giants like Facebook have been selectively spying on conservatives at the FBI's urging. If this is all true, these shadow partisan organizations' power is almost limitless. They control the media, digital information, as well as law enforcement. And as I'll show you, the evidence indicates that it has exploited that power in recent years to manipulate the most significant political events. I'm warning you, listen to this at your own discretion, because by the end of this piece, you'll never look at American politics the same way. I urge you not to view this as a political hit piece of left versus right or Democrat versus Republican, because the power behind this influence can go both ways. It's just skewed toward whichever side it currently has the most influence. Let's begin with one of the newest political narratives, domestic violence extremism, otherwise known as DVE. For years, Democrats blamed the Republican Party for the rise of DVE, calling it the biggest threat to U.S. national security. But it turns out the rise of, for example, white supremacists may have been grossly exaggerated. In the report, whistleblowers reported that the FBI pressured its agents to beef up DVE numbers by reclassifying crimes even when there was no supporting evidence. Via the report, one whistleblower explained that because agents are not finding enough DVE cases, they are encouraged and incentivized to reclassify matters as DVE cases, even though there is minimal circumstantial evidence to support the reclassification. And such reclassification was forced across all levels of the FBI by tying agent pay to DVE cases. Again, via the report, another whistleblower who led at least one high-profile domestic terrorism investigation stated that Timothy Thibault and the FBI's former assistant director of the counterterrorism division, Jill Sanborn, pressured agents to move cases into the DVE category to hit self-created performance metrics. According to whistleblowers, the FBI uses these metrics to dispense awards and promotions. And these aren't just some random whistleblowers. They're those who are rather high up within the FBI. But why? Why would the FBI tie agent pay to increase DVE cases? That's like solving a crime that you caused, or creating a poison and making money from the antidote. Easiest way to answer such questions is to look from the top down. So, who is in charge? Well, none other than now ex-FBI agent Timothy Thibault, who infamously whitewashed Hunter Biden for no apparent reason other than his own obvious partisan bias. But it appears these secret agencies didn't just manipulate the numbers. As FBI insiders revealed, law enforcement bodies also staged DVE incidents. One such case was the attempted kidnapping of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. During COVID, she was among the first officials to lock down a state, and that, ostensibly, motivated the right-wing militia group Wolverine Watchmen to overthrow the governor. The fact that someone was angered by Whitmer, of course, isn't a surprise, and if an extremist group plotted to overthrow a public figure, that also wouldn't be a surprise. But does that mean those extremists are always tied to the Republican Party? In fact, things get rather convenient once you learn that, as if by sheer democratic luck, this conspiracy was conveniently uncovered a few days before the 2020 presidential election. It turns out the 1,000-plus page report may have exposed why. During the trial, defense attorneys revealed the other side of the story. They presented evidence showing that the plot was actually staged by the FBI itself, with over 12 FBI agents involved. Yet, all of this evidence fell on deaf ears in court. Despite ample proof pointing to the contrary, 13 men were convicted for orchestrating a domestic terror plot, getting up to 20 years in prison. But wait, there's more. There's no more extraordinary example of what this cabal is capable of other than the infamous Capitol attack. As you undoubtedly remember, on January 6, 2021, a group of rioters holding up Trump banners stormed the Capitol, overwhelmed the guards, and for a short while took control of Congress. The official version is that it was an insurrection powered by the Republicans. But when you look at the most recent findings of the House Judiciary Committee, things don't really add up. First, the FBI has changed its testimony a couple of times now. Officially, the FBI stated that they had no intel about any large-scale assault, but later it became known that an FBI office knew and issued an internal memo warning about a plotted coup a day before the incident. If they knew about the coup, then why didn't they put the Capitol secured on high alert? During the assault, the Capitol was protected by just a couple hundred of the 1,879 sworn officers. Again, that's despite the intelligence warning that things would boil over. Then, as Twitter's recent hearing revealed, Twitter played a critical role in this attack by changing its internal rules and allowing Trump to keep posting during the riot. Could these tweets have been secretly amplified? What better way to stay in the Republican Party than sowing fear of an extremist revolution? That's a textbook divide and conquer play. No matter your opinion, there's clear evidence that there are much higher forces of power controlling government, not just in the US, but all around the world. In other words, if you're focused on black versus white, left versus right, or Democrat versus Republican, the true rulers will continue to maintain their rule. Here's a letter Ivan wrote in 2014 that explains this very clearly. Throughout history, rulers have successfully used many strategies to maintain control, none more so than pitting one group against another. By ensuring that citizens fight amongst themselves, the rulers of an empire never have to worry about a unified revolt. In Niccolo Machiavelli's book, The Prince, he described a necessary but dangerous game of internal politics, which involves the pitting of one group of citizens against another. We have seen Machiavelli's strategy used in many historical events. For example, the Dutch East India Company often played one group against another and crushed a revolt by the Chinese immigrants with the help of 2,000 Aborigines in southern Taiwan. Leaders of the Qing dynasty also often pitted one group against another to maintain control. In American history, Europeans often pitted one native tribe against another by trading firearms to rival tribes. The more the tribes fought amongst each other, the easier it was for the Europeans to rule and conquer. This strategy is now once again being used in America. That was written by Ivan in 2014. Take a step back and take a hard look at the last decade and tell me that hasn't happened. The House Judiciary Committee's investigation has just begun. By March 23rd, America's biggest tech companies must provide all correspondence with federal agencies, and their CEOs will likely have to stand before Congress. My gut feeling tells me that what we've discussed is just the tip of the iceberg. Remember, if the goal of the top-level elites is to divide and conquer, with the next stage being this so-called Great Reset, this could represent a critical inflection point for the markets. Seek the truth and be prepared.